Through freelancing, I was making way more money than my 9 to 5. And suddenly, one day, I wasn't. I did the math and I discovered that my freelancing income was more than my full time job. Now, this was like a dream. This meant that I don't have to wake up every morning, rush to the office to log in at 9, otherwise, I'd get a pay cut. But just when I thought that I'd hit the jackpot, freelancing threw me a curveball with surprises and pitfalls that I never saw coming. So I made a lot of mistakes as a first time freelancer, and I learned from those mistakes so that you don't have to. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Natalia, and today I'm revealing the raw and unfiltered mistakes I made as a first time freelancer so you don't have to learn them the hard way. So, buckle up for some eye opening insights that might just change the way you think about breaking free from your 9 to 5. Lesson number one: no contract equals to no commitment equals to no work. One time I began working with a client and everything seemed great until they dropped the budget constraints excuse and ghosted me. The lesson here is simple. Always have a signed contract in place. By having a clear contract, you're not only securing your work, but you're also outlining the project scope, the payment schedules, the deadlines, and even what happens if things go south. So, this contract protects you and the client. So, think of it as your safety net that ensures you get paid for your hard work. Now, I even recommend using a standardized contract template and getting it reviewed by a legal expert if you can. Lesson number two: notice period works both ways. Sometimes clients expect you to drop everything immediately if they decide to terminate the project. But when it comes to you leaving, they might insist on a longer notice period, like maybe up to 2 months. Now, that's not fair. That's a red flag. Your contract should clearly define a fair notice period for both parties. Now, this means you get the flexibility you need while ensuring that if either of the party needs to make a change, there's a smooth transition in place. So, always negotiate terms that protect your time and income. Let me tell you something which happened with me. Now, I was working with this client, and for the first 2 weeks, things were smooth. And after 2 weeks, they decided that they're going to have a in-house marketing team, so they did not need my services anymore. So what they did is they terminated my contract immediately, even though there was a contract, but there was no contract or clauses which would mention that, if you want to terminate me, you have to give me x number of days as the notice period. I did not add this. Now, because I lost this client, I didn't have any other client to replace this client, so I was losing a big chunk of my income there just because I did not add the notice period clause. So make sure you add the notice period clause. Lesson 3: if it's not in the contract, it's extra, so charge for it. So, if a client asks you for a quick edit, some extra graphics, or even a bit of a strategic input that wasn't originally agreed upon, you don't have to do it for free. So, make sure your contract details exactly what's included in your deliverables. If they request any additional work, remind them politely that these tasks will fall outside the original scope and it should be billed separately. So, when you're setting these boundaries, you not only ensure you're compensated fairly, but this also helps you build a professional relationship based on clear expectations. Lesson 4: specify the deliverables and their cost. Be super clear about what you're exactly delivering and at what cost. Make sure your contract includes the exact number of deliverables you'll provide and the price for each. For instance, if you're delivering, say, 3 logo concepts, spell out that along with the fee for any additional revisions. This way, there's no confusion later on. For example, if you are a video content creator like me, make sure you put in the number of videos you're going to deliver in a particular month, the duration of the videos, or what type of editing needs to go on those videos, and mention the cost for each. Now, this sets clear expectations from the start and it helps you avoid any unexpected disputes over extra work. Lesson 5: include a retainer fee for stability. Now, this is something I've never done, but I'm going to do it moving forward. So, you should consider adding a retainer clause. A retainer clause is an upfront fee that guarantees your time and secures the client's commitment to the project. It not only provides you with a financial cushion, but it also reinforces the value of your work. So, whether it is an initial deposit or a recurring fee, including a retainer in your contract ensures you're compensated from the get go. For example, if you charge around 500 rupees per hour and you want to reserve 10 hours per month, a retainer fee of about 5,000 rupees is a good starting point. And if you're offering VIP or priority service, which means setting aside time exclusively for that client, you might consider adding a premium of about, say, 30 to 40%, which could bring the retainer fee to a roughly 6,500 to 7,000 per month. Ultimately, you should adjust the retainer based on your experience, the client's needs, and the market norms in your industry. Now, freelancing is a lot of freedom, but remember, it is still a business because you, a single person, you're going to be doing the job of five people. So make sure you treat it like a business. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more real talk on freelancing and business tips. See you in the next video.